Hey guys, it's Shara here from Woodshop Diaries, and today I'm showing you how I built this do-it-yourself kids house bed. So if you're ready for a really fun build, let's get to it. Now, first you'll notice here that obviously what I'm showing you is a pretty big bed. It's actually a queen size. But don't worry, since this style bed is made for a kid and the bed size is more likely to be a twin, I've partnered with my friends at Build Something to bring you the free plans with cut list and detailed measurements for a twin size in the link below. The assembly process is the same no matter what size you're building, so I've linked the plans below for a twin, but I'll show you how it came together here in this video as a queen. Ready to get building? Here we go. I built this bed out of standard construction lumber. I used 2x4s, 2x6s, and 1x4 boards. I used tongue and groove pine for the bed slats just because I already had it on hand, but 1x4s would work fine for this instead if you wanted to keep it simple. This bed was built in several sections so that it would be easy to disassemble and move if necessary. It's made up of two sides, a front, a back, some bed slats, and some roof supports. So let's start with the bed sides first. I was building this bed for a friend's toddler and they wanted solid sides to help keep the child from rolling out of the bed. So first, I glued up two side panels from 1x4 boards. I simply edge glued and clamped these, but you could use pocket holes or dowels as well if you wanted. While the glue dried on these panels, I moved on to making the frame. I cut 2x6 boards that will go above and below this glued panel on the bed sides and drilled 1.5 inch pocket holes into the ends. Because these boards were so long, I had to drill these on the floor because they were hitting the ceiling if I tried to drill them on the workbench. So if you're building a twin size, yours will be shorter, so hopefully you won't have that problem. Next, I cut 2x4s for the front and the back of the bed sides. Because the roof pieces are attached to the tops of these, they needed to be trimmed at an angle that would match the roof pitch. These angles are detailed in the plans linked below for a twin size. Now, it was time to start putting things together. Again, because the boards were so long for the queen size, I had to assemble it on the floor, but with the twin size, hopefully you can assemble it on your workbench instead of having to crawl around on the floor. I assembled the 2x6s between the 2x4s like shown using 2.5 inch pocket hole screws. I left a 10.5 inch space between the two 2x6 boards in order to install the glued up panels between them later. Before installing that panel, I went ahead and finished the frame by installing the roof pieces. I cut 2 pieces per side that will serve as the roof. I found it actually easiest to glue and screw these pieces together at the peak, then glue and screw them into the frame like shown. I was careful to pre-drill all of my holes as these 2x4s have a tendency to split sometimes. Now it was time to install the panels. I drilled 3/4 inch pocket holes along the ends of the panel and installed between the 2x6s using 1.25 inch pocket hole screws. At this point, the two side panels are complete, so I set them aside to start working on the front panel. For the front panel, instead of one large panel, it's actually got two smaller panels, one on the left and one on the right. So first, I glued up these two small panels like I did with the larger side panels, just using 1x4s and edge gluing them together. Once the glue was dry, I drilled 3/4 inch pocket holes into one end of each panel. For this front frame, I used 1.5 inch pocket holes in all the 2x material and 3/4 inch pocket holes in all of the 1x material. You'll notice at the bottom of the front is a one solid 2x6 board. Before assembling anything to it, I drilled 1.5 inch pocket holes into each end. This will be to attach it to the side panels later. It's easiest to go ahead and drill them now though, before anything's attached to it. I assembled the front frame using 1x4s on the outside, 2x4s on the inside, and 2x6s at the top, just like you'll notice in the video. Notice that I did drill 1.5 inch pocket holes into the outside ends of the 2x6 tops. Again, this is for attaching it to the side panels later. And if this gets too hairy, don't worry, everything's detailed and outlined in the plans linked below. I installed the front panels using 1.25 inch pocket hole screws into the 2x4s and then just drilling on the back side 1.25 inch wood screws into the 1x4 on the outside. Now the front was finished and it was time to get the back built. The back was the easiest part. I glued up one more panel for the back side using 1x4s and edge gluing again, just like all the other panels I've glued up already. While the glue dried, I built a frame using 2x6s on the top and the bottom and 2x4s on the ends. I pre-drilled 1.5 inch pocket holes onto the ends of the 2x6s. Again, this is to attach between the side panels later. And I used 1.5 inch pocket holes and 2.5 inch pocket hole screws to attach the 2x4s on the ends. Because this panel stretches such a long span, I also added a 1x4 in the middle of this frame to support the panel in the middle to keep it from bowing in or out. I trimmed the panel to fit, and once the glue was dry, I drilled 3/4 inch pocket holes into the ends, and then I installed it into the back frame using 1.25 inch pocket hole screws into the pocket holes, and then 1.25 inch wood screws into the center into the 1x4 support in the middle. Now I had the sides, the front, and the back panel. All that's left at this point is the details. I roughly assembled the bed in the shop and gave it a few coats of clear poly, and then I brought it inside to set it up with a mattress, make sure it fit, and stage it. This bed goes together pretty easily, but it is helpful to have an extra set of hands if you can get someone to help you. I screwed the back panel into the side panels using pre-drilled pocket holes into the 2x6s on both ends. Remember when I told you that I pre-drilled all those holes? This is why. Then I did the same with the front panel. Next, I added two 2x4s, one for the front and one for the back, at the roof. I installed these using 1.5 inch pocket holes and 2.5 inch pocket hole screws into the ends of the boards. Then, one more detail, I added a 2x2 the same way at the roof peak using pocket holes and screws. Now the only thing left are the bed slats. I needed somewhere for the bed slats to rest on, so I screwed 2x boards into the front and back panels at the bottom of the bed. Then I cut several slats and 2x4 blocks to create the bed slats. 1x4s work perfect for the slats, but I ran out and had tongue and groove boards available, so that's just what I used. I screwed 2x4 blocks cut the same height as the slat supports into the middle of these slats, and then I spaced them evenly along the supports in the bed. It's best to screw these slats in place, but after these pictures I was immediately taking it all back down, so I didn't bother with screwing them in. At this point, slide a mattress in and you're ready for a nap. Building a bed seems kind of overwhelming, but it's really simple if you break it down into sections like this. Don't forget that the free plans linked below walk you through step by step how to build one in a twin size for your own little one. And of course, if you did want to build one for yourself and you wanted a queen size, it's not difficult to simply make the front and back panels slightly longer and the side panels slightly wider. Personally, I don't think I would mind having one of these in my future home office. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you aren't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on what's coming next. And again, a huge thanks to Build Something and Craig Tool for sponsoring this project. Until next time, friends, happy building!